Do you have like a moss problem?
Moss is a result not of water, but of malnutrition. Period. If you got moss, it's because the soil has no life. And if you have you saw my grass. It's standing water. There's no moss in it.
Here's the thing. I just had to spray moss killer, and I sprayed moss killer to get it dead. And
So what you want to do this next fall, if you can find the product Stutzman's, they have it at the Cenex here, but there's a few places that carry Stutzman's Super Green Chicken Manure. That's the only chicken manure that's really real stuff. Nothing else has an analysis. It's all full of rocks and garbage. This stuff is clean. You take that stuff and you spread it over your lawn, the moss and the thatch, any issues you'll have will be history. You'll have the nicest lawn you've ever seen anywhere in the world. It is amazing how that stuff works.
What was that
And
called
that's-
again?
It's called Stutzman Super Green Chicken Manure. And why this stuff is so awesome is that the family before the kids got it used to be chicken farmers. And the kids didn't want to be chicken farmers, but they had all these buildings. So they go in their community and they collect everybody's chicken manure and they put it inside the buildings and rotate it for 2 years inside the buildings, and then run it through a hammer mill. Now, inside the buildings, no weed seeds blowing on it, and no rain, so it's totally clean. I'm telling you, man, it's awesome stuff.
so it's in a
It's in a
pellet
bag.
form.
It's in a bag. It's a bag. It's chicken manure. And it's going through a hammer mill, so it's all ground like it looks like tea,
Okay.
like a tea. Like a
And
tea.
then that's once a
And
year.
you take that, in the fall. If you do it in the spring, you're going to kick yourself because you'll be mowing your grass twice a week. You won't keep up because it'll grow so unreal.
Really?
I'm telling you, man, I've done it for people in the spring, and they come back and says, "Man, that nasty lawn we had is awesome, but I got to mow it twice a week. I never seen it grow like that." So you do it in the fall, and so by spring, it's all underground and in place, and so your grass will grow normal. But if you do it in the spring, you better, like I say, you'll be mowing twice a week. You're going to
So
be angry.
you're asking for it.
You're asking for, because it's major nutrition.
So I just spent literally 4 days, 5 days, about 25 bags of just dead moss that I
Break down.
yeah, I basically timed with the
The
dethatcher.
thatcher, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm at the point.
So what you want to do now, if you got exposed ground there,
Yeah.
reseed, put new seed on, because you want to fill those spaces, otherwise you're gonna have weeds. And then if you can get a nice cover of wood chips, like the fine stuff,
The fine stuff.
over that and water good, you're gonna have an amazing lawn. If it's not raining water, it's gonna be awesome.
Okay.
Because you want to reseed because you have a lot of air. You got space now, and so it's open. So any
Yeah.
weed seed blowing is going to grow. So you want to get grass growing in that place to
Get
fill in.
Quick.
So
Huh?
a nice, and you want to get a nice. The best grass I found is called a tall fescue. It sends roots down like 6-8 inches. It's really a deep root. The deeper the root, the more drought resistant because it's going deeper. So it's more sturdy. So it really makes a great lawn. It's called a tall fescue. You want to find that that variety for seed.
Okay. So, what do you think if right now I don't have any wood chips, and I'm saying you're recommending?
If you can find like some place that sells, compost. If you can get compost, something that's, God, pray. Is this okay? Because some stuff isn't, but ideally wood chips or compost, something really fine, organic, now to cover over, to hold the moisture for the seeds and then feed the soil.
Okay. No steer manure.
The problem with steer manure is that it's very lacking because steers don't get much. They're just, it's not very potent. And the problem today is all steers are fed genetically modified organisms. So it's
Kind of what you're saying
so
about
we're
the
bringing
lettuce.
toxicity to, and they could have been fed, on if they had any grass, it could have been sprayed to get rid of broadleaves. So you don't know what was in their diet,
Right.
and so it's a
Um.
concern.
Yeah. The steer manure that I have, has a lot of wood chips in it. A lot.
Where'd you get it?
Home Depot.
In bags.
Yeah. It's $1.49.
Go there and pray. Now, if God, is this okay? And just check your spirit. If you have a peace, you feel it's okay, go for it. If you have a doubt, like I don't know, don't.
Okay.
God is really there. He's really there for us, and He leads by peace. The Bible says in Ephesians, let the peace of God rule in your heart. And the word rule in the Greek is be the umpire, call the shots, be led by peace. If you feel good about it, go for it.
What I'm saying is I don't have wood chips right now. I mean, I want to get wood chips.
Well, pray. Father, I need wood chips. Could you help me?
Okay.
And what you want to do to exercise your faith is give Him thanks ahead of time. I'm going to thank you, God,
Yeah.
for providing me wood chips. I believe you're a good Father, and you care, and you're quite adequate. And so I'm just going to thank you ahead of time because I know that this is your way, and I want to follow your way. Mm-hmm. So thank you for providing me wood chips, and watch what happens.
And make a couple calls.
Like,
if nobody knows you want them, then I'm just going to show them on the door.
Have you used that chip drop?
I signed up for it, and the other one, which is about trees, both of them I signed up for, and then I called every single tree service, like about 10 of them, not every single one, but about 10 of them in our area, and then, hey, looking for wood chips off this road, put me on your list. And then 2 weeks later, call them back, hey, looking for wood chips on this road, and most of the time they're like, oh, okay, we'll put you on the list. What can you make sure I'm still on the list? Oh yeah, I'm still on the list. Okay, cool. And within a couple weeks, I usually have somebody going, oh hey, we just got a job out that way. There's some places where you can go and get them, but they don't dump them at their property. They dump them at the dump or something like that, or other people's properties. If they dumped them at their company business area, they'd have so much.
lots of green.
So there's no way for them to dump it there. Some of them, one of the places that I contacted over on my side, they actually did have it. And you could come out and give them take as much as you want in your truck and drive away and have a good life. Or they could, for like 10 or 15 bucks, use their loader, drop it into your truck, and you could go away and have a good life. And I was like, oh, no. And she was like, well, we could deliver it out to you for like $75 a load. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I don't pay for wood chips. You guys in the area, and you come by, if I'm closer than the dump, you come and drop them off at my place. And she's like, oh, well, we do that too. I was like,
okay.
So basically she was saying that if they take it back to their property and they dump it, and then they want me to have them load it back up into the truck and then drive that truck over to my property, it's $75. Yeah.
Right.
So there's ways to get it. Follow them whenever you see one of those Asplin trucks. Just follow them until they stop. What y'all doing? Chopping this tree down? I live about 3 miles that way. Get a hold of the electric company and stuff like that, cable companies. See when they go through and do their chopping and dropping. There's a lot of times they'll just dump them off on the side of the road if nobody's looking, and you can just be back behind them with a shovel, picking it up. Are you selling your house?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but this one says...
Who said that?
I don't know, somebody. I was like, I don't know where they would have seen
nuts,
that.
Man. My next move is up.
Yep.
I'm not leaving this place.
Yeah, so you're not selling your house. Okay. If you do, though, I'm your guy.
Where would I go? I mean, what's the point?
Right.
Come on.
I mean, you have to start all over again? Yeah. After picking all the asparagus, there is a leafy bush left. How long does Paul leave these? Does he cut them down or leave it alone?
That's the fern. You need to let that grow because that's feeding the crown. At the end of the growing season, fall, winter, it turns brown. And then when that happens, just break it off at the base like you did your original asparagus and get rid of it. You're good. But during the summer, that has to grow, that fern, because that feeds the crown. And it also creates seed. Little red berries, those are the seed.
This is a question about adapting back to Eden for arid climates. Anticipating an El Nino year, I laid out my wood chips in the fall for a new garden, thinking the rains would help break down the chips. I got them 6 to 8 inches thick. Unfortunately, this El Nino was a bust for Southern California. I live in the high desert and we get negligible amounts of rain. Any recommendation on a way to help break down the wood chips without using excessive water?
I don't know. One guy in California did an interesting thing. He had the same experience. They weren't breaking. There's no rain, but he had a pond. So he took all those wood chips out and put them in the pond. Dumped them in the pond and let them absorb all that water and brought them back and spread them out. It was amazing.
Well, like in a bucket full of wood chips, he'd go out there and drink
he had a loader, a tractor, and he just filled his pond. He just kept loading it in the pond, and then he came back and he pulled them all out. But they sit in the pond and they sucked up all the water. And they came back, and he says it was incredible how it worked. It was awesome.
Well, I doubt everybody has a pond.
I'm just saying
that is cool.
It was because he was resourceful. He said, "I got a pond. I'm going to use it. I'll get that." And they just like a sponge, sucked it up and held it.
So, wood chips need the green to help them break down.
Well, that's the idea. It's not how the rain. That's the life force. See, if you use sawdust, nothing grows in it. There's something about the green leaves and leaves that has the life, the nutrients, the minerals. The wood doesn't. The bark doesn't. You see people who put bark down. It looks nice, but nothing grows in it. They have to fertilize.
Yeah.
Wood chips is another medium altogether because it has needles and leaves. And if you look at a branch with a chipping, most of it's needles and leaves. Very little of it's wood. The majority of the material is needles and leaves. So that's the ideal material. And in the fall, that's what the Creator puts down. Every fall, the needles and leaves fall off the trees. You know what's so cool? How he gets fir trees, evergreens to drop their needles? Because they don't. Evergreens don't drop their needles. They're permanent.
Mm-hmm.
You know how he gets them to do it? He causes a drought in the summer. And the interior needles turn brown. And the first wind that happens, all is on the ground. I just think nature's pretty awesome, because they need that covering. It was so interesting. These sequoias out here. You see how beautiful, big they are.
Mm-hmm.
They're just young, 18-year-old trees. But anyway, we had a major drought when they were only like about maybe 5 feet tall. I mean, we're talking major drought, and all the interior needles were turning totally brown. I mean, looking like uh-oh. So I'm talking to God. I says, "I better water." He says, "Don't water. Don't you dare water." He says, "What?" He says, "Look at the tips of the branches. What do they look? They're bright green." He says, "That's where the new growth is. The trees are in good shape." He says, "Just watch what happens." And so I'm watching this, and they're getting browner, and thinking like, "I'm not supposed to Don't water. Don't water." So we get these southeasterly winds that really rip through here in the winter, fall, and so we got one. And I go out to my trees, and they were beautiful, totally lush green, no brown. It looked like nothing came out of them, but the ground below was 6 inches deep with needles. And here's what God told me. Those trees were anticipating future droughts. And they knew they needed to create a cover on the ground to hold the water. And they that's flagging all these drawing, because they did it for their survival. Had you watered and stopped that process, and they would put nothing on the ground, they'd have been vulnerable. They would not have been strong for upcoming years. Whoa. Yeah. And I got it. Nature's perfect. It's not missing anything. It's doing everything exactly right for the maintenance of perfect environment.
You're good.
And when I try to help it, I mess it up. Really, I would mess it up.
Right.